this water. So just an exhale. And how is the nation? How is the, the losing half? How are they feeling?
I think it's a mixture. I think there's a lot of, as opposed to 2016, there was a lot of screaming and crying and anger.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just a lot of silence and a lot of kind of doom. Kind of a feeling of he didn't know what he was doing last time and he stumbled his way into hurting people. There's a game plan. There's a well-formed playbook.
Sure.
And it's all part of the plan now.
Yep. And
so I think before it was anger at like, how could we let this happen? But now it's like, it's going to happen now.
Right. And it's going to be fully a cast of characters around him that are all yes men.
He learned his lesson of,
yes,
I will excise everyone who isn't in lockstep with me.
Absolutely.
And who will bow.
100%.
And they will, I mean, Josh Hawley, for example, as a...
Yeah, but I mean, just to roll back though.
Okay.
How are they feeling? Because I haven't been anywhere. Dude, I have been in a cave.
I think there's
since the election.
Honestly, just a lot of
sadness. Is that the wrong word?
It's the wrong word. I think it's
gloom is the word you used.
Doom.
Sorry.
Doom. Like dread.
Wow.
Apparently, suicide rates have gone up. There have been more some suicides.
Really?
Like
in the last
spike.
Week. Yep.
Across the nation. Particularly anybody in any marginalized group is feeling it extraordinarily heavily. Where now it's like again, like it was, instead of being kind of widespread hate, it's targeted, effective hate.
Like a transgender illegal immigrant is probably feeling the heat right now.
Yeah. Anyone who's not straight and white is feeling the heat.
Okay. All right. So
I think it's most of it. And then people who are, most of the nation feels that. Then
what's the news talking about this? I mean, I realize that they're talking about policies and stuff, but just about the mood of the nation. Are you seeing any articles or headlines about just the general mood and the news feeling of people?
As far as I've seen, doesn't care what the people are feeling.
Yeah.
So for the politically educated, I'll lump the news into that.
Yes.
There's a bit of a war going on, or beginnings of a war within the Democrat Party.
Okay.
Of how did we get here and how do we get out of it? To put it very mildly. The news is
talking about that.
All infighting of, this is why, this is why, this is why.
Who to blame?
They're too busy trying to figure out what's wrong.
Yes.
And the rest of the nation is fear.
Okay. So
I think fear is a good emotion. I think a lot of people are feeling fear.
So I think the best thing we can do for today, if we have done nothing else by the end of this episode, this show, is that we have talked to that fear that people are feeling right now about this. Because half of the nation, by the way, a majority of the nation, by popular vote,
elected,
this is what they want.
Donald Trump. Yep.
And if we are true Americans, if we are George Washington, Thomas Jefferson Americans, if this was if the election was fair, I mean, like, assuming
it's
okay,
fair.
So that means that they played the game better. They played the modern game, and they played their classic fear game that they have been playing for a long, long time, to play on fears, but they played it in a masterful way, and they had a huge cast of proxy narcissists that I'll talk about a little later in the episode. But I think if we speak to the fear that people have felt, because I've felt it. Like, I went to bed that night on election night, and like, I already knew he won. I knew he had won when I saw what was going down in the beginning in Wisconsin.
When they called I know Florida
long
was a
before they
swing
called
state.
it. Long before they called.
No,
Wisconsin.
yeah. But when Florida, they were like, it was one of the first states they called. I was like, oh, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
They're so quick to give Florida. Not that Florida would be like a swing state, but they were like, oh,
Well, he's winning by that
West
much.
Virginia and Florida are called. I was like, oh, that's not good news.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
not a good sign.
So that's when I turned it all off. That's when I knew he won. I went to bed that night and I knew he won already.
I was like, unless there's like now a .001.
Yeah. There. Yeah. Right.
Like
.001.
God would have to intervene
Yeah.
to save this one.
When I went to bed in 2020, I had no idea. I thought it might be Trump again. Maybe there's still
It was dicey.
room, but there was plenty of room and plenty of states for lots of
Stuff to still happen.
votes. Yeah. So,
Biden should still pull it out.
yeah. Right. I mean, I went to bed like not knowing, like thinking, I think maybe Trump, but not really knowing. But this time I went to bed election night long before they called Wisconsin. But when I saw the votes remaining were mostly Republican votes and he was already up,
Yeah, I knew it
I
was
was like,
over.
that's it. He's going to win
I kinda
Wisconsin.
went
And if he wins in Wisconsin, he's going to win
The Rust Belt.
he's going to win everything. So
My thought was,
I went to bed and I haven't looked since.
I went to bed knowing he was going to win. It was, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to see how bad the damage is. I didn't expect him to win the popular vote. They absolutely crushed it in the Senate, and they're on track to win the House. It's not been called yet, but they're on track. They're definitely ahead.
Yeah, a total sweep. A
Total sweep. So I have plenty of thoughts, and I think to speak to the fear, I mean, I don't.
Well, okay, so there's a couple things to just to introduce this. Then we speak to the fear, how people, how they feel, how they have felt ever since election night, and this has happened, and what that is. But then also, how did it happen, and how we can learn from that. So that's what we're going to be speaking about now and like ongoing. That's what we're going to be speaking about for the next year or two.
I think the best
until the midterms.
I think honestly the best answer is we're like speaking to the fear. We're here.
Yep, we're here.
I don't have.
We have to surrender to where we are.
I don't have to tell you to be scared. I don't have to tell you. We know what the plan is. We know it's going to suck. Right. Like for me, the pain will mostly be economic, mostly. White straight guy. I mean, mostly economic, right?
Yep.
But plenty of people are going to feel it socially.
Yes.
And being ostracized and
for sure
looked down on. Just a peek behind that curtain. Tabitha, TikTok, she posted a thing. 4B movement. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yes.
So she posted something about it, and the amount of hate that she has received. I mean, it's like, I can imagine the hate. I didn't like envision like this. Like it's really some rough stuff. Like
about being something like maybe like pro 4B kind of
being a woman.
Okay.
It's just that she's a female.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's pretty not disgusting stuff. It's pretty crazy. She's being a trooper about it. She's laughing and making fun of him. So she's a trooper about it. But it's crazy.
Yep.
So things of that nature, people having that kind of problem.
Yes.
That's going to be widespread. But we know that's the problem.
Yes. So
I don't have to sit here and tell you for an hour, hey, it's going to suck exactly how you think. I don't have to tell you that. I think the best thing to do is there's a midterms. It's 2 years from now.
Yeah.
So 2 years of suck. But something can be done. It's not like he won and then like...
Now it's resistance.
Yeah. It's not like he's going to go get a big paper shredder and put the Constitution in it. He'll try to. They'll mangle it.
Parts of it?
They'll mangle it.
For sure.
For sure. There's no doubt. They're going to mangle it.
But...
It will... America will still be here. Our path to victory perfectly still exists.
And here's why. Because this is mostly about money for rich people. That's mostly the end game. Yes, there's going to be some things that happen. The LGBTQ, right. I mean, there's going to be, what's going to go on with migrants. Right. I mean, there's going to be some things, but I think to your point, because it's about money, it's in their interest to keep the country going.
Yeah. If the number one economy on the planet explodes.
Right. That hurts Elon Musk.
The world economy disappears. I don't care how powerful China is.
Yeah.
The world economy disappears if we disappear.
Right. And
so they won't allow it to disappear.
Right.
They might let everybody else suffer.
Yes.
But it won't be gone.
So here's a good mindset for people to think who might be afraid now, is that people need to understand, number one, that Trump and the people in his orbit, all the narcissists in his orbit, they are going to become enriched very much. The people all around him.
Already starting.
It's already starting by the fact that he is president. So, and they all know it. And it's in all of their interests, all of their best interests, to keep the country powerful and strong and rich and growing in that way. That's why they want everybody to have babies. That's why they, you know what I mean? So just to, so it's always growing. And so it's hard to imagine, but it is in Trump's best interest to keep America at the top of the world. And so that we should feel comforted by the fact, because that's what the right loves about him.
And he has hitched his trailer to the identity of America number one.
Right.
So.
But we on the left, it's okay for us to know that the people that are steering the ship are steering the ship to try to shrink and harden and speed up our country. You know,
at the total sacrifice of everybody at the bottom.
At the sacrifice of everybody at the bottom and everybody who's...
But nonetheless, there has to be a ship for them to have any benefits of the ship.
Like, it's not in anybody's best interest for states to break off from the Union and stuff like that. Like, it's in no one's best interest.
Or to truly get Great Depression too.
Yes, it's in no one's best interest for any of that to happen.
Now, if their policies follow to a T, we will get that. By the way, as a clarification, we will.
Well, that's true.
We will.
That's true. But still, I think there'll be enough.
There'll be enough resistant. It will suck, but that's not the primary of what I want to talk about, because.
But I think that'll at least allay some fears for people, just
hopefully
a bit,
that, like,
if they understand that at a minimum. Now, you might have some other things you have to deal with if you're a minority.
I think a big thing is a part of it is just knowing people around you. Honestly, I think it can solve a lot of your problems. I've met people who have been racist, but like I love my Hispanic friend or my black friend. I love them.
Right.
Like,
it's
so
weird.
if you're friends with somebody who like spouts hateful stuff, but they're your friend, you're like not in their mind a target.
Sure.
So if you can integrate with your community, that's how you affect the change the fastest, and you feel it the fastest.
Yes.
It's also how you be the safest.
Get to know the people that you're
people
afraid
around
of.
you, and that's how you be the safest. If you live in a red area, but you're friends with all your neighbors, they're not going to let you suffer because they're your friend.
It's literally what we know, because this device, this handheld internet device, has isolated us. It's in fact, it's a part of the problem. It's a part of the reason that Trump won, because a lot of the world is happening now in your hand. And so,
but I think that's a big part. If you meet your neighbor, as kind of cliche as that is,
but
I think truly can prevent and help you if the occasion arises.
Of course.
I truly do think.
If it was possible for everybody to know everybody, then it would be a lot harder to do the things that people do.
If you're a marginalized person and your neighbor voted for Trump and espouses hateful shit online, and then another person exactly like them comes down the street and starts harassing you, your crazy racist neighbor will defend you because they're your friend.
Sure.
And they're in their brain.
Yeah.
It is incoherent.
Sure.
They don't care what they say.
Yes.
I like this part. This is my friend.
Right.
Leave my friend alone.
Yeah. This is my black friend. This is my Hispanic
Even if it's
friend.
weird and it's racist and their
friend.
mind's all messed, they will step up for you.
Yeah.
In a weird, even if it doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
I promise you, it's true.
Or, okay, I'll word it another way, a little more extreme than what you're describing. If Iran invades Texas, like you,
it's beneficial to know your neighbor with a gun.
Like
then
your neighbor will bring you into their home no
And
matter
feed
what,
you,
no matter what
clothe
you are.
give you a bed if you know them. Yeah.
No matter, even if you don't, if you're an American and whoever is invading is not, they will take you in. That you know what I mean?
In the extremes, it can wash away.
I think because we're thinking in such extreme terms, because people are thinking like, are we now allied with Russia, which means we're also allied with Iran and now North Korea, because now they have troops too. So does that mean that we're part of some new axis of power with Russia and Iran and North Korea? What?
Potentially.
But right. So, but what does that mean, globally? Are we going to be out of NATO and like all this stuff?
I think a lot of the fear of any laws being passed to discriminate against a person, I really think if you know your neighbor in a very serious way, if it gets bad, they will help you.
Of course.
Absolutely. This is true.
I like the thought.
It's true. It is. If
bring it back local,
your power goes out and there's like a terror attack in your city, your neighbor will help you.
Yes. No matter
they will.
What differences you have.
You knock on the door and you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't get paid till next week. I have no food. Do you have anything they will bring you in their house.
That's why.
Even if online, they hate everyone else like you, they will help you. So remember that and try to keep the spirits high. I understand it's hard, but making an attempt.
By the way, that's what we mean when we say about 9/11, never forget how unified and together we were when that happened. That's what never forget means. People think like I'm supposed to remember 9/11. Like
never forget that I hate brown people.
Like it's hard to forget 9/11.
We've all remembered.
Like it's hard. I mean, it's on the calendar damn near. And so, anyway, so there's that spirit of unity that's there anytime that we're going through adversity. And I think that's the thing that people also need to remember as well, is kind of just, again, to help with the fear. I think it's a great point. I think it's a great point.
And Jesus Christ of Nazareth would support this message.
Okay.
Love your neighbor.
Yes.
Yes. So if you want to be like
Christ-like
if you want to be more Christ-like than the Christians that you know,
love thy neighbor.
Love thy neighbor.